I just want to welcome everybody to another episode of Messianic Perspectives. I'm here today with my guest, Joshua Rogers. Perhaps I should start saying co-host.
Yeah, I guess so. We've been doing
and I'm your host, Pastor Bruce. And so today we're going to be looking at some different questions about what we're going through, what's going on in our society, particularly in the realm of finance and crypto and the reset and all this stuff that we're hearing on the news. So Joshua, you got some starting points?
Yeah, so God and crypto. I noticed I was doing some research on the Google trend searches that those are the two biggest things that are being researched right now, primarily especially with the millennials and Gen Z. About half of each generation are searching for God,
Right.
Which is, praise the Lord, that's awesome, because we're definitely in the end times.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
as Messiah said in chapter 24, what it's going to look like when it gets closer to my return, right? And we're kind of starting to see a lot of that right now.
Right.
And also cryptocurrency is another one. Just the word crypto actually is more really spiked up on Google Trend search lately, and for good reason too. I just wanted to give our viewers kind of a more or broader oversense of God and crypto, really, because especially crypto, because we've been on this channel talking about our faith, and that's great, but now we're moving into this season right now where there's so much going on with cryptocurrency right now. When I'm on the street and I have a conversation with somebody about crypto, as soon as I say the word crypto, a lot of the times they get shut down. It's because
Two responses always.
Right. What are the two responses you get?
Well, they either shut you down, they don't want to talk about it, they think it's craziness, or the person's all in.
Right, no, yeah.
And they're all excited.
I'm starting to find out that's more frequent now, is that the person is all in rather than it used to be more of a negative. But it's kind of hard to ignore now, especially if you're on social media, what's going on in the news. I mean, President Trump himself said in the beginning of his election term, this is the second time around, that he wants to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world.
Crypto capital, yeah.
It's kind of a big statement. Right, especially if we're talking about something that's, fake magic internet money.
Well, Trump is obviously he's a financial genius, and he sees the writing on the wall. The future is blockchain technology. Everything is going to be digital. Everything is going to be digitized. Even already when you buy stocks, you can buy on most exchanges fractional stocks. You don't have to buy one whole stock. You can buy a portion, because it's all digitized now. So this is where we're headed. So he sees that, and he wants to make us the strength, the financial strength in the world, which is good news for us.
Right.
So the dollar's been weakening. He wants to bolster it up and strengthen it so that we can remain the Federal Reserve currency of the world, because that gives us such a heads up, such an advantage in the financial realm worldwide. That's a lot of what our prosperity in America is due to, is the fact that our currency has been the reserve currency for the world.
Right.
We don't want to lose that.
And if I'm not mistaken, too, that's actually been put in jeopardy the last few years, especially of late with what's going on over in the Middle East, and the oil, everything. The petrodollar is actually losing a lot of value. I know a lot of what Trump has been trying to hedge against is actually the Middle East has been doing more trade with oil, with the Chinese yen, more so than the dollar now. And that's not good, because as soon as, the oil trade was really big for our economy also, and staying that edge of the rest of the world, right? But now it's kind of, they're finding a way to get around that. Especially in the last administration, kind of let a lot of that go, and we missed a lot of that influence that we used to have.
That's what's happening. You're talking about a global reset, and you hear this everywhere. This isn't some conspiracy kind of thought. This is every nation is talking about a reset. And here's the problem with a reset, or I should say the issue with a reset. If you're going to level the playing field, which we hear that term a lot as well, if you're going to level the playing field, it's not possible to bring all of the countries up to the American standard. So what is possible? The only possibility is to bring America down to the standard of the average standard of the world. If you do that, then you've leveled the playing field. But what does that mean for us? What does that mean for our economy, our way of life?
Right.
It means we go from being this superpower to a second world country at best.
Right.
And at the worst, we lose our credibility in the financial markets, and say the Chinese yuan takes control, and everyone starts buying and selling based on the yuan, then what happens to America? We could slide down into third world very easily.
Very quick.
So, so there's a lot at stake here. There's a lot of the jeopardy is fairly high for us. So fortunately, we have leadership right now that understands this, and they want to keep our position solid.
Right.
And the way they're going to do that is through cryptocurrency.
And to hit on that too really quick, so the monetary system that we've been currently using since, let's say, the 50s has been very analog, right? So we have bank transfers from one bank to another, from one country to another. It's been very old brick style bank works, if you will, right on the back end doing things paper. Yes, we have the technology of internet and computers now, but the way we move money around has essentially been the same since the 50s. So our cars have been upgraded. We have our infrastructure everywhere else has been upgraded, except for the financial system. And that's kind of what we're going through right now with the digital technology. And this is actually, I feel, is the first time in our generation, our history that I've seen so far, is that this is the first time where people like you and I, retail investors, can actually get a part of this institutional upgrade before the big institutions get in there. It's the first time ever. Most of the time, like the internet itself, I don't know if anybody knows this, but the internet itself was actually created by the government to be able to better interrupt with itself.
For military.
For military uses, and then it got bigger. Now we're using it.
Yeah.
But this is now the same thing with telephones and communication and so on and so forth. But this is the first time where we're able to have ground floor accessibility to this before it really becomes the new standard.
That's huge for you and I and people like us. For the middle class and lower class people in the country, we now have an opportunity to get on the ground floor like you're talking about. And that is a golden opportunity that will only hit once in our lifetime.
I've been hearing that all over the board. Once in a lifetime chance, right?
And it's here right now. And even though you're fairly late getting into it, you're still early. And the reason we're early still is because the government hasn't put into operation the guidelines and the parameters yet.
Right.
They're working on it, but they're closing in on that.
Very closely.
And once they do, the big boys are going to come in and buy it up, and then it'll be out of our price range.
Yeah.
So you either get in now or you're going to miss it. And going back to this reset idea, on one of our trips to Israel, I was really awakened to a revelation, because we went over there and their cell phone system is excellent. You get cell coverage everywhere. It's perfect in every way.
That must be nice.
And I was frustrated because our cell system is less than perfect here. Let's be real.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I was inquiring of the Lord, why is that? We're the number one country, not Israel. Why is their cell service so good and ours is so hit and miss? And I came to realize that one of the problems that we have in this country, and it affects us to this day, and especially in this area of finance, you were talking about how slow the banks are and all that, we're using this archaic technology, is because we, back in the 50s, we developed all the cutting edge technology. And we got in on it. The other countries couldn't really afford to do it, so they were left in the dust while we succeeded. But now what's happened is with the advent of new technologies, they have invested in those things and developed those things, whereas we've been relying on, in the financial world, SWIFT, which was designed in 1973, I believe it was. Come on, 1973? That's Neanderthal.
Right. Compared to,
so we're still operating on those principles in our financial realm. That's why you send a deposit from one bank to the other. It can take days, and then it's got to clear. They hold some of the money. It's craziness.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure you've had to wire somebody somewhere.
We have.
Yeah, just that, and they take a huge chunk out of it too.
Huge chunk. And it takes like 2 weeks before the funds are released.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's just no good. And the world is not operating in that mode anymore. I mean, think about it. We go on our computers, I press a button, and if it isn't on the screen, instantly. If it takes a second, that's, I need a new computer. It's
Right.
too slow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is where we live. This is what's going on. We want to be able to tap our phone at the grocery store, and it's instantaneous.
Mhm.
So I don't have to wait. I don't have to do anything.
I've noticed too is that yes, it's instantaneous when you tap on, when you pay with your card. But I've noticed too, and it's getting better. And I think because these banks are on the back end, not coming out and saying it, but if you do a little bit deeper research, you see a lot of these banks are starting to use blockchain technology
Yeah.
to make their transactions move faster. But not that long ago, even in some stores today, I'll do a transaction with my debit card, and then it'll still say pending on my account, and it doesn't get taken out of my account until like 2 days later, and then I have already misbudgeted for something. I'm sure everybody else has felt this too. I hope so. Anyway, it's not just me. But and then all of a sudden I go to make another transaction, thinking, okay, well that one went through already, so that money should be already allocated. But no, that's still pending. So when I go to make a double transaction, then I'm out more. I'm like, well, I already paid. Like, why is it not already reflected?
I've got that going on right now.
Yeah.
And I can't use with confidence my account because I'm not really sure because I have withdrawals in there and I have deposits in there all pending.
Right.
I don't know where I stand.
It's almost like you're still having to balance a checkbook at that point. Do the math and subtraction, this and that and the other thing.
Exactly.
We're not downing people doing math. That's a good thing, but we're in the technological age. Like, we want this now. And it's like that with everything else, but our banking system, and that's where we're coming into this whole reset.
And this banking system, and I know a lot. We were talking about the reaction you get on the street. Some people are like, they put up the cross, and get away. That's demonic and bad news. And listen, we've all read the book, the Bible, so we know where we're headed.
Right.
The Lord tells us in His Word He's going to store up the wealth of the wicked for the righteous.
Amen.
So has that happened yet? I don't think so.
I haven't really felt it.
No. So I believe that's one of the things that's coming. And I believe it's coming in this wave with crypto and digital assets and blockchain technology.
Right.
There's a lot of avenues you can get involved with. AI, the up and coming stuff. And that's not digital assets, but it's certainly blockchain.
It's definitely the future.
And it's definitely the future.
Very near future, if I may say so.
So too many believers want to boo-hoo it and say, well, you know what, that's not good. That's from the devil. I've had people actually say that in some of the seminars that I've done. Blockchain and Bitcoin and digital assets are all from the devil.
Right.
Well, we're heading towards a one world government. We know that.
And a one world currency, right?
That's all included.
Right.
That's all included in this reset. That's what the reset's all about, is to bring the whole world together, closer. Okay? So do we catch the wave just because it's not good spiritually? I think we do catch the wave because then we have the resource that we need to get through the future, to fund evangelism for the future.
I would say even for our future generations.
Our future we don't know when the Lord's going to return.
Right.
Is it going to be in our lifetime? I thought the Lord was coming back in 1981.
Right.
So, and here we are, 2026. So we don't know when the Lord's going to return. We're pretty confident we're getting close. But what does that really mean? I mean, a day is like 1,000 years to the Lord.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying?
And only the Father knows too, right?
Only the Father knows. So we need to do, having done all the Word says, stand firm. So that's what I would really encourage our listeners to. Listen, we have an opportunity here. God has presented it to us. We can get in early. Yes, it's speculative, but all investing is speculative.
Right. And since you mentioned that too, I also want to say too, any of this going forward is not a financial advisement for any means, but this is just for educational purposes and entertainment. But yeah, that quick little disclosure. No, absolutely. I mean, the Lord tells us through Jeremiah in 29:7. And He says, stay in the land, for if it prospers, you too shall prosper.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's really important that we should speak to all generations, but especially mine also, or even the younger generation, to really dive in, to know your surroundings, see what's going on with the system right now. I can speak for myself. I'm a millennial. And sure, I'm good with the technological stuff and so on and so forth, but actually knowing how my government works for a T, has been really kind of something I've only been working on the last couple of years, right? Because I'm actually wanting to know what's going on and so on and so forth, because I've been so blinded by the system that's been created for me to follow already, and I was happy and complacent with it. But the Lord's have lifted that veil for me and said, "There's more. I need you to get deeper because of what's coming." And that's kind of what we're trying to share today, is that there is something coming, and for being God's people, we should be ready. And I think the Lord wants us to be ready also. We can't just sit there, get caught laying on our backs while all this happens, and it's, oh, well, what did you do with
Well,
the
if you
time?
do, you're going to miss the boat.
Right.
And
then it's like then at that point, then you're risking you and your future generations to be stuck in that demonic system where you go back into bondage and slavery again, essentially, right?
You brought up a really good point. You're a millennial. I'm a baby boomer, and I grew up I remember our first television set. I remember when hi-fi came out. That was precursor to stereo.
Okay.
It was, we got a hi-fi little record player, and all it did is you moved the dial and it moved the sound from one speaker to the other within the box, which was about that long.
Okay.
And all the neighbors came over and said, "Oh man, listen to that. That's awesome." That's all you could do though, is move from one speaker to the other.
Yeah.
We didn't have stereo. We didn't have color television. I remember when color TV came out. We had our little transistor radios, So, and we've gone from that to the technology that we have today. We were watching a movie there, there was a phone booth in it. And we just started laughing because we used to use phone booths.
Yeah.
And yellow pages and all of that.
I vaguely remember payphones towards the end. Yeah, I used a payphone once, right? Maybe my daughter asked me.
Once.
See? My daughter asked me one time, she's like, "Dad, what's a payphone?" I'm like, well,
say that. So we have my generation, the baby boomers, we have that underlying knowledge of how the government is structured, how it works. We've been around the block quite a few more times than you guys have. So we've learned a few things along the way. We've learned, I remember you couldn't buy stocks online. Well, we didn't even have online until the 90s.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as the internet. If you wanted to buy stock, you had to go down to Charles Schwab or J.P. Morgan or some stockbroker, meet with a guy, and he had to do it all for you. And then he ran it, and he would call you up on the dial phone and say, "You know what, we have a good lead here. Do you want to get it or not?"
Right.
And so we have that underlying pinning of understanding how all this works. Your generation comes along now. You have an understanding of all the technology. We don't really understand the technology that well. We're just learning it, some more than others. But you guys have grown up with this.
Right.
When we get a new TV or something, I call my grandson over to hook the whole thing up for me. You know what I mean? Because there's so many wires and everything else,
Right.
When I was growing up, you plugged it into the wall and turned it on. That was that.
Try not to laugh too hard, but yeah, you're right.
And so, one day you'll be sitting in this chair, and your kids and grandkids will be doing stuff. You go, "How do you do that?"
Right? No, you're right. Absolutely.
And you won't comprehend it. You'll have your foundation will be here. So we need one another, and we're sitting at a time in history that's really good for us because we still have technology has advanced so far. And yet we still have the underlying knowledge that we can use over here with the technology.
Right.
And as my generation dies out, that's going to be lost. You hear these interviews with people, they don't know anything about the government. Some of these people don't even know who the president of the United States is.
Right.
Well, you can know all the technology you want, but you have no comprehension of anything.
That's the thing that my people my people perish for a lack of knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And I feel that for myself too. And then I see a lot of the younger generation, my generation and younger. Somebody was doing an interview online, and they're just randomly walking up to people and saying, "Oh, what's the real cause of inflation, or what's inflation?" Right? And they couldn't answer it. They're like, "Inflation bad?" And I'm like, "Oh,
they don't know."
Guys. Like, and that's what creates a system to where the elites stay on top and they can just control the rest of the world. They control what you eat, what you buy, what you sell. That's all can be, that kind of gives me chills, but it makes me think about the mark of the beast. Like, they're going to control all of those things. They're going to do that by putting a blinder on us and making sure that we're not aware of all these things. right?
Well, if they can keep you in the dark, they can control you, like you said.
Right.
And that's what the elites want to do with the reset.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think the globalist movement, their thing right now is that by X year, you will own nothing and be happy about it.
well, we've
That's
heard
not
that
gonna
from
happen.
prominent politicians.
Right. Right.
You know, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Because Big Brother government will just take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
But see, the millennial generation doesn't even know what Big Brother is.
Right.
They've never read Orwell's work, 1984.
Right.
And we were reading that back in, the 70s probably is when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the future. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But here we are. You know,
There's a movie out there that I'll speak to my generation. There's a movie out there called The Matrix.
yeah,
And that's a really good action-packed movie. But if you look at the
Yeah.
underlining plot of the whole entire movie, it's basically telling you what the whole future system is going to look like.
yeah,
They have these agents, they call them, that are supposed to be running the system and making sure everybody's in
Mhm.
control and in alignment with everything else that they're doing, and their computer programs and so on and so forth. If you look at what's going on today,
Yeah.
we have something called AI agents.
yeah.
I mean, there's a little bit too much of a parallel there,
Yeah.
if you ask me. And so, if anybody
yeah.
hasn't seen that movie, I
Oh,
I
The
watched it
Matrix.
with some discernment. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, there's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the underlining of what's going on today.
I remember when that movie I Robot came
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I thought, robots? Are you kidding me?
And now AI.
Now here we are.
Oh my goodness!
You know,
Elon Musk
it-
has a whole army of them.
So good, bad, or ugly, it doesn't matter. This is where the world is headed.
Mhm.
And we need to take advantage and get ahead of that system as much as we can,
Right.
which will give us the freedom and the liberty to be able to live our lives with some semblance of order, but also to spread the gospel.
Right.
Because we need money to spread the gospel. And so who's going to provide that?
Mhm.
It's got to be believers that have gained wealth. And so I think that's where we're sitting on that precipice right now.
Right.
With digital assets. I would encourage all of our listeners to really investigate digital assets. And, you may not understand it, but if you do your due diligence, you'll get it.
Mhm.
I mean, when I first got into it, I didn't understand anything.
Right.
And I was still trying to figure out how to do online trading and all.
Right.
I was afraid to put my card online
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because, that was a brand new thing.
Oh yeah, you never know. Always getting hacked or so on. So I mean, the security has gotten a lot better over the years. But
Well, it
absolutely.
has.
Yeah, but still, you never know. But yeah, you have to educate ourselves. And I think it's important for our generations to really come together, right, and put our heads together and say, okay, where we can only go where we're going by knowing where we've been, right?
That's it.
And you guys have so much. We have so much knowledge and wisdom that we can share together to be able to prosper going forward.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. I think that's so advantageous.
It's how we stay ahead.
How we stay ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the foundation, but you also have to understand the cutting edge technology and the other cutting edge issues. Because as you get older, you can become complacent,
Oh yeah.
and you settle in. And then the Bible even addresses that. It says people sit around and say, well, the old wine is good enough. And that's true, but the better wine is there.
Right.
So you choose which one you want. What do you want to partake of?
Right.
For me and my household, we want to stay ahead of the curve as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a lot of energy, and that's another thing that my generation, we're winding down, and a lot of people, they don't have the energy.
Right.
They don't have the desire to learn it. Well, I'm going to be gone one of these days, so I know people that don't even want to learn how to work the computer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going, you can't operate
Right.
really well without a computer today,
Mm-hmm.
or some sort of, a phone.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to get that. You've got to take the time to learn it.
Mm-hmm.
And that will lead us right into that financial boom that we're talking about.
Right, which is coming very soon, actually, because they have certain things. If the viewer has time to research these things, you have the Genius Act, which was passed just a few months ago, and that is actually giving paving the way for stable coins. Is another word for you should be looking into. That they're going to be able to use this kind of digital currency to move around between the countries and how we do business.
Right.
A really big one we're waiting on right now, which should hit the president's desk. They're saying by July 4th, which is the Clarity Act, and that's the one that's going to be really make it or break it. So hopefully, when you guys review this video on soon, because we're, what is this, May 28th, 29th?
Yeah, I mean, June
So
is this weekend.
Yeah, basically another month or so to get ourselves positioned properly before this thing really starts.
Well, once that Clarity Act comes in, the Clarity Act is just what it says. It's defining and giving clarity to the boundaries and the parameters in which the big banks can operate. So once they have those clear boundaries, they can come in and start buying and trading on a higher, more open volume. They're already trading crypto.
Right. Well, they're already doing it.
They're already doing it. But it's not to the extent that they want.
Comes into a use case, technology for
Use case.
utility is what they call it.
Yeah. And once that hits, they're going to flood in.
They're going to buy it all up.
And then we're going to be victims at whatever price they set for this stuff. So, and it'll be outpriced for most people. I mean, it's like the average person can't buy even one stock of Amazon stock right now.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's just not in their budget.
That's not in my budget.
No. So that's what crypto is going to be as well. It's going to be outpriced for the average person. So this is the time. So I would say those that have ears to hear, let them hear what the Spirit is saying.
Right.
The Lord has opened a door of opportunity. Take advantage to the best of your ability right now. And get in. Obviously, I shouldn't need to say this, but I will. Don't ever invest more than you can afford to lose.
Absolutely.
If you invest and it goes south, you don't want your life to turn upside down. So don't invest more than you can afford to lose.
Right. And then you don't want to find yourself in a position either where if you're holding an asset for an amount of time and you're waiting for it to appreciate, you don't want to have to sell that asset to get by, because then you're taking away from your future.
Well, that's it. I've already seen that happen with a lot of people that are investing. So that's a huge problem as well.
Right.
So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in to Messianic Perspectives. It's good to have you with us. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, hit that notification bell.